Hi everyone, I'm Cristiano. Welcome back to my channel, and this time in this video I'm going to show you the difference between building a project using React and doing the same thing using JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript. I mean, just JavaScript. So what is the difference? I'm going to explain some React hooks that we use in React projects, and I'm going to explain the difference between them, using them, and the difference between like doing this project, like using components because React is all about components and the JavaScript. So here is the main page, like the home page of the project. So we can see there is two buttons right here. You can go to the React version or JavaScript version. Actually, I'm going to duplicate this and put just aside one another. And to show you guys, left side is the React version. As you guys could see, it takes like 1 second to load because I want to simulate uh, like a fetch from some API, and the JavaScript version does the same. So the structure is the same, and this project, of course, is a supermarket. It's very common one, and we have like the items rendering inside some grid, and we can add the items to the card. As you can see, works the same, and can increase the quantity and I can increase the quantity in the JavaScript version also. Here I have 5, 4. Let me decrease one. There we go. The total is the same. And of course, in the JavaScript, as you can see, it's vanilla.html. So I'm running like vanilla JavaScript. So it's JavaScript, only JavaScript. I mean, HTML, a CSS file, and the JavaScript. So as you can see, there is not much like the difference here is not very visible. I mean, you have some difference like the semi-bold that I forgot to do in the JavaScript version, but and here I have the semi-bold, but here I don't. Maybe the size of the font is different, but doesn't matter. What matter is the structure is the same. I can clear my cart. I can add like two items and remove one item, and everything is updated as we are doing it. So I mean, works the same, but this is React and this is vanilla JavaScript. So what is the difference like inside the code? I want to see the code, Christian. Okay, this is the code. Let me just do like this to be fair. So this is the code. It's running, as you can see right here at the top. And the code, of course, is public. It's right in the description area. You can see a link there from my GitHub. You can click, you can see it. It's for everybody. And thinking now, I probably should have done using Next to, deploy, but never mind. This is a very simple project. So let me show you guys something. So I did this using React because I want to start the project with React. But when I get to when I navigate it to the vanilla, I'm going somewhere else. And let me show you guys how I did it. So this is the main file, the file that starts the the root from DOM. And I have a component here, the app. When I go inside this component, I can see there are some routes here because I'm using React Router DOM. The first route, there is the only like the main route, there is the home page. There we go. Is this one, home page, and I did using React, but let me close it. Let me go back. If I go to the slash React over here, slash React, let me go to slash React, or I can just click here. Let me just React. I'm going to get the components that I did inside using React. Then I'm going to explain you guys. I'm going to explain the React hooks that I use, like useState, useEffect, context, everything. Reducer, I mean everything. So let me go back here. If I go to the vanilla page, this component, I'm going to use this use effect from React. This is a React hook, but to get only to get to the vanilla HTML. So in this folder right here, the public folder, I can see there's the vanilla.html, the style it. Let me show you guys the code, right? So let me just close this. I think this is better. And this is the title. Let me go to the vanilla JavaScript. Here we go. I can, this is the, the title. I can change. Let me put some number and update it. There we go. It's rendering. So, but I have to, keep restarting this HTML. And I'm importing here the script for the vanilla JavaScript, and of course the CSS is here. So this is all for, to look better, as we all want to. And this is the vanilla JavaScript. So when I go to the vanilla HTML, I'm like adding an event listener that is the content that I'm going to load. So there, I'm going to render the products. There is this area right here, and then the cart, that is this area right here. But I'm going to render them again because I'm going to fetch the products. Because when I start to render, let me switch something to. I did like a set timeout to simulate like a fetching from some API. Let me go like this, and when I try to load it, as you can see, it loads just this part right here and then the cart. But if I take it out the time, like 1 second, maybe less than 1 second, just 1 second, okay. It takes 1 second, and then it's going to resolve. I'm going to give the product list, the mock products that I did. So I'm using like some images that I took. I'm just, mocking the data just to have something to show you guys. And then after that is going to render everything else. Like this div, this image is going to, appears like should be. And this is the functions to remove from cart, decrease quantity, clear cart. Every function is inside the same file. Some people prefer like this, but when you have like a large website, gets really hard to find the right function or to even to understand what is going on. If I mean, this is a very simple project, like it's a supermarket, like very simple project. So it's easier for us to have like everything in a single file. But when comes to like a large website, we have to. It's better with React because we can do like components, and then we can separate them, and it's way easier to do it, way easier to be more organized. So well, this is the vanilla code. So everything is here. So the add card, the functions are here, and I'm rendering them. So everything is running as it should be. Let me close everything from the vanilla side. And now I want to show you guys the React. So right now I'm going to explain how I did it. So at first, as you can see, when you go to the React component that is going to render, let me go to the main page. When I click on this button, it's going to render this. Of course, this is the React page. So as you can see at the top, we have a cart provider. There is the context, and then inside of this context, we have some divs and some other components like this product list and the cart, just like we saw in the JavaScript. But you know, you have other files, it's easier to manage, stuff like that. And the CSS, I'm not using like a file for the CSS. I'm using Tailwind because most of the projects uses Tailwind, so I'm using that. So if you don't like it, just you can change it. You can download the code and change it. Be my guest. I would love to see that. So at first, as you can see, there is a card provider, and why is that? And we have like some components. I can change the version 2.0. Let me go inside here. As you can see, 2.0. Let me change it and save it, and it's going to render at the same time because I'm using Vite. So as you can see, I can see like there is the H1, there is the title. There's some customizable things in here like font bold, text center. But when I go to the component, because React is all about components, when I go to the product lists, there is this guy right here. I can see that I'm using some, you know, I'm importing some things from React. There is the, I mean, it's the React hooks. useState, useEffect, useContext. Actually, the useContext right here, I'm getting some function. The add to cart, it's a function to work inside this component. So I'm grabbing something that is outside of this component and using it here. As you can see in this button, we have like on click, and when you click on this button right here, this function, this arrow function is going to work and it's going to add two cards, and I'm passing the product that is rendering. So I'm this is a component and I'm rendering like some items, and each one of this is a map because I'm mapping array. This is the array right here. Let me see. Oh, it's in the context. That's fine. So I'm rendering every item, and if I click to add to cart, it's going to work this add to cart function. And guess what? It's going to pass the product that I'm rendering to this function outside of this component. I know it's a little hard to understand, but when you try to work with, React, you're going to understand very easily. It's not that hard. But right now I'm using some React hooks, and let me explain you guys the hooks that I'm using. In Java, like JavaScript, I'm so sorry, Java is another language. JavaScript, you have like, let me show you guys this right here. It's a const and it's array. So I have like some items inside this array, like ID for this apple, the price for this apple, and then we have the second item that is ID number 2, banana, another price, another image, and so on, so on. So for the React, I'm using this state right here. This is a use state. It's a hook because I want to get like which product that I'm going to be adding to the cart, right? So what I'm doing here is using the fetch to fetch the products, and then to get the mock products to appear here. This is the mocking products to be inside of this state right here because it's like a variable. It starts with an empty array, but takes me 1 second to load the products, and I'm going to get these products and putting inside this state. Okay, use state is just like is not that hard to understand. I mean, I'm getting a little off the road, the tracks here, but use state is something like it's a variable, but I can use it like how can I change this variable? I'm going to use this set or another name, you can put it here, to change it this one. So when I'm going to render, I'm using this one. But if I want to change, like add some items inside this list, because this is an empty array, I have to use this set to put inside or change it. I mean, if I want to change the state, I have to use this one, set products. But if I want to use the state to render something, to render itself, I'm going to use the products. Yeah. I don't know if it's a very good explanation, but I think I can make it better maybe later. But now let's explain this use effect. What is this? Use effect, and it's doing something. Use effect is like what is the name? Let me think. Component did mount. It's just like component did mount. So when the component is going to be mounted, like going to be initialized, it's going to render and it's going to execute this. useEffect is going to execute every time the component is rendered. And I'm not passing nothing inside this part right here, so it's going to render just once when the component mount. And it's going to fetch the products. And I did like set timeout to take 1 second to finish this, to resolve this. And then I'm going to execute this function, fetch products. After I execute this function, I'm going to get the data, and I'm going to get this data and put inside this use state right here. That's why I'm using like an arrow function here and putting the data inside the products, the set products, that is this state. And then I can render using this map right here, products.map, and I'm going to render each product as I did here in this list. So it's not that hard. So useEffect is going to work always when you like the component it's mounted, but you can put some things here, like if I have some other things that every time I switch or change anything from that side, I can put inside here, and it's going to render everything that it oh, I'm so sorry, is going to render, or I mean executed everything that is inside this use effect. So that's why we use effect. It's not that hard to explain. It's not that hard. Actually, it's a little hard to explain for me at least because I'm trying to explain in English. So sorry. And if you speak Portuguese, just give me a call and I can explain in Portuguese. But in English, it's a little different. So this component, the product list right here, is what is going what is happening inside this component is I'm initializing with like this use state that is empty array, and then when the component is mounted, I'm going to give like a 1 second, like a set timeout, and then I'm going to put the products inside this state to be rendered down here. So in the React page, so this component that I'm importing is doing that. So, and now we have to understand the cart, that is this shopping cart. Let me show you guys. And later I'm going to explain the context, because you remember the add to cart function, it's there. So let me explain inside of this context, and then I'm going to explain using the context itself. So inside this component, the cart component right here, what I'm doing is just, rendering, like doing a map on this cart. There is this cart, everything here is inside the context, and this component is only, rendering what is inside the context. So I'm rendering the cart, I'm rendering every item inside this cart, and I have some functions here, and like decrease quantity, remove cart. Let me show you guys. This function, these buttons has a function that I'm using, and what this function is, I mean, what is this function and what it does? It's inside the context. I left all there, and there's the like the clear cart here. If I have some items, I can clear the cart, but if I don't have any items, it's going to render this one right here. So if the cart length is 0, I mean there is no items inside the cart, it's going to render this. If there is like one single item, is going to render this part over here. There is the item and the buttons to decrease or remove, and is going to render also this one is the button to clear the cart and the total. So this component is just doing this, but the functions that I'm showing you guys is inside this context. And why is that? Because if I put the functions inside of this cart or the product list, if I put the functions inside the cart, I'm not going to be able to execute the function outside this component. See? So it's better for me to put the functions outside it, because if I want to render in another component, like another cart, like this, I have to do all over again. But if I put inside the cart provider, there is the context, I can just grab it from there and use it. So it's everything is going to be inside this context, and you can, use twice, use the, the functions as much as you want. So it's better, and it's a little different. Now let me show you the cart provider. I know it's getting too long to explain. I already explained the use states. I try to at least, and the use effect. But now I'm going to explain the create context. There is the context, useReducer, and React nodes is It's a hook, but actually it's not a hook. Actually, the React node here is just, to define some kinds of, values, stuff like that. So it's not a React hook. Actually, the React hook here is the create context and user reducer. Actually, let me just take this out. There you go. I like to be. That's how I like to the component to be. So that's the React hooks that we are using. So create context, use reducer, use effect, and use state. So let me explain you like the use reducer. If I click down here, I can. There we go. So the purpose that I'm using use reducer here is because when I have like some state that I it depends on another one and I have like a bunch of functions that are working together and each one then is going to change the state of something that I'm already using, it's better for me to use reducer because it's going to work together. I mean, every function inside the use reducer is going to work together inside the same state. So it's better. I mean, it's useful for managing like this kind of situations. And of course, we have also these functions. Here are the functions. So you have the state that I'm changing, that I just said, and the action. So actually, the action is going to add to cart is doing what? Is going to see if the product is already there. If it is, like here, is going to add the quantity. It's going to remain the same things there, but it's going to add the quantity. But if there is not, it's going to remain the state and adding this product like and the quantity of this product that I just did. So one quantity because I'm adding this product to the cart. And remove from cart is doing like has the same state, but I'm going to filter and remove it looking for this ID and remove it. I'm going to filter it. And decrease quantity is getting the same state and decreasing the quantity. But if there is like just one, is going to filter the item, just like remove from item. And of course, the clear cart is going to get the state and you know giving an empty array because how that's the type of the object that I'm treating. This cart is array, so it's going to give me the empty array. And there you go. This is the function that I'm using inside this reducer, and all of them are using the same state. There is the cart. That's why I'm using use reducer. So, and the context is providing every, I mean, you see this value here? It's all of this. They are the functions that I'm executing. And of course, the state of the cart. Remember? The cart is a state right here. It starts with the empty array because the cart is array. So I'm putting products there, and because it's just this state, and I'm changing like adding, removing, or decreasing the quantity or some attributes inside of. I can use the use reducer to put all the functions together in just one big stuff, one component, on one React hook. So there we go. When you're using this, for this situation, it's better cart reducer because I'm changing this state with a lot of functions. So I'm going to do like a switch case. It's better. And of course, we have the context. Let me show you the create context. I'm going to create this context. I'm going to say, because I'm using TypeScript, I have to say what is inside this each value that I'm providing to the context. Like I'm inside this context, I'm providing cart, so it's an empty array. The function add to cart, so it's a function that is going to receive a product. And this type, this two dots, and the product is the type because I'm using TypeScript. So I'm going to receive ID, name, and price inside for this function to work. Um, I have the remove from cart, decrease. All of these are functions. As you can see, these are functions, error functions, and this clear cart and calculate total doesn't have to be. You don't have to pass anything inside of. So this I'm creating this context, this like these functions, these values, and passing through this card context provider. And inside of this, the children, I'm like rendering everything here. Remember, everything here, this is the children. It's like doing this. Understand? But I put like children because it's easier for me to just, put in another component and work inside another component. That's way better to do it. So, I mean, that's all. I think I have explained everything about the hooks that I'm using for this particular project. So create context, use reducer, and let me go back to the product list. I mean, use state and use effect. State is just like an object that for me to change the object, like to add some things, or if it's a number, to add numbers there or change it, I have to use the set product to change it, and then to get the value I can get from the left one over here. So, I mean, that's it. That's how the project works. And for the JavaScript, it's not that different. If you are a JavaScript developer, you are used to seeing this. So we have the HTML right here, and then we have the style for the class that I did actually, and then the vanilla that is going to render. Let me show you the HTML again. So here I have the body. Inside this container, I have this class content, and I have some IDs here. And this from these IDs, I am going to get the JavaScript is going to provide the information and is going to be rendered. Like I said in the start of the video, this DOM content loaded is going to, appear all of this. First of all, it's going to render the product, the card, and then it's going to fetch. And the logic for this is every function here, the render product add to cart, is in this same situation, so I can use it inside of this place, but it's not in components as it is for React. So as you can see here, I start the product and the cart right here. So it's simple. Sim Actually, I think it's more simple to explain or to show it to understand. But when it comes to a large project, is almost impossible. I prefer uh, way better React for that situation. I mean, it's my preference. So or use Angular or another thing like that. So there we go. This is the project. Let me go back to the start and duplicate this and show you guys again. This is the React version and the JavaScript version. And as you can see, works the same. So you guys like it? Leave it your comments in the comment section just below it. And please hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends, and thank you guys. I think this video is like took me it's way longer than I thought that it would be, but this I don't have a script. I'm just trying to explain something. So there you go. Thank you for everything. And if you like the code and if you want to download the code, just click in the link down below. Thank you and see you in the next video.